Give it a minute. Welcome to Small Talk with Kenya and Dawn. I'm Dawn.
And I'm Kenya.
So we are back here with part 2 about making someone your convenience. So we left off and we had a pretty good conversation, I think, about talking about the men. And I hope no one feels attacked that we're always jumping on the men. But if you do, don't worry, because now we're going to talk about the ladies. So when a woman has made a man her convenience, the first thing that comes to mind is how she can possibly take his manhood from him. Making him feel less than. Making someone feel used. And I mean, that can go both ways as far as a man with a woman, as, you know, you taking someone's, a lady's womanhood from her as well. But taking the manhood from a man. And I just hear some of the things that my husband says, you know, about, you know, being a man and, you know, it's like strong and, you know, just like a pillar almost. But when a woman has made a man her convenience, and I'm just thinking that's taking his manhood away from him because you're using him, that doesn't feel good. And I know it doesn't feel good. What comes to mind for you when you think about it?
Ooh. I mean, doormat, really. Just one word, because, you know, you're talking about that and taking the manhood and then the resentment and the anger and all the things that follow with it. You know, I don't want to say it's hard, but the illusion is that it's hard to find a good man. And then you find a good man, and then that woman just use him for her convenience or whatever it is her need is for that time. And then it's a possibility she'll flip him to be a bitter man.
You know, a man, I think, that has been hurt will not bounce back like a woman can bounce back. A woman has a different kind of strength than what a man does. That's just been my experience. But I don't see a man being able to come back from that type of hurt, you know, for a long time. I think it's probably a little bit more difficult, you know, for them. And a lot of times, you know, I think it's hard for men to show their emotions with things. And not to say that they don't feel things, that they don't, you know, that they're not hurt the way that, you know, we hurt, but I just think for them it's a little bit different.
Do you think it's because they're a little bit more embarrassed?
That might be it. I couldn't put my finger on it before, but that might be it.
Because, you know, with women, most of the time, from what I've seen, I don't know if it's factual, but women get angry. I want to get even. You know?
Ooh.
And where a man, especially if I don't put my heart in it, my friends know, my family know, and you do that to me, I'm the last one to know because everybody else around me saw it. I think I'm a little bit, I think for that man, I think a part of that chipping away is the embarrassment of it because, you know, you've invested, you've had, you know, you've forecasted, this may be my wife, and you've just really used me up.
One aspect and I think it's probably one that you would think about as well, is for the financial aspect of it. Tapping, we've heard the term sugar daddy before. I don't think that's necessarily, it could be the case with that, but I think it's when you're really playing with somebody's heart. You're playing on their sympathy. Here comes that Jezebel spirit all over again. That controlling spirit and manipulation.
There it is.
That's really what it is. It's a lot of manipulation that's happening. But, you know, it's like, okay, well, I'm going to just call him because I know that he'll be there, especially if it's a man that you know has really cared about you and would do things for you, whatever that you needed. But then when you need something, because maybe you have not prepared properly, but it's like, you know what, I'm just going to call him on the phone and he'll give me whatever I need as far as your convenience. And I just don't think that's right.
It's I'm gonna say it's not right.
I'm
not gonna say I think it's not right.
It's not right.
We're playing with people's hearts and emotions, and people have died for those reasons.
Yes.
You know, and I just think, you know, you said taking away that manhood. That just won't leave me. That thought of taking this man and just tearing him down to the point where I'm embarrassed. I can't come back from this. How do I regain my credit? You know, all of these things about that. And you just did that because you conveniently left me to the side until you needed me. But even during that process, you have pretended to care about me.
That probably hurts even more because you thought that you had a certain type of relationship, but you really didn't have it. And you put your all into stuff, and that this goes for men and for men and women. You put your all into something, and you really believe that something is being cultivated. Something is, you know, it's growing, and we're building a life together. All to find out that it really wasn't there, and they didn't feel the way that you felt, but they're just using you because you're there. Because you have a kind heart, because you've seen certain things that you really want, but then you're really not ready for sometimes. Does that make sense?
It does.
It's not fun being used. It's not fun being used at all, and my heart just goes out to people. It really does. I feel really, really bad for them. Especially when it's a genuine person. And it's like their heart has just been pulled out and it's been stomped on.
And you think how long it takes for somebody to get over a heartbreak.
Yes.
And then, geez, let's just not even live nearby or run in the same circle where I gotta keep constantly seeing you over and over, just remembering what you've done to me.
Yeah.
I can't imagine.
What's the recovery time?
Right.
What is the recovery time? It can't be something that's quick.
No.
Especially when you, like what you're saying, you see somebody quite often.
Constant reminder.
You don't want to keep looking at that person, and then it's like, it just doesn't stop. You're remembering what they did. You remember how they hurt you. How they called you on the phone and was like, you know, hey, I need $500 to pay my electric bill.
But then when you call them the next week, and hey, I need you to go to this family function with me, and you make every excuse not to. 2 weeks later, you need $250. It's crazy.
Yeah.
And you know, you would think, or let me say, I would think that you would see that pattern. But when that is something, when your emotions get tied to that thing, it's easy to overlook, especially when somebody got a slick mouth. Yeah.
No, we can't do that.
Yeah.
We can't do that. What else comes to mind when you think about a woman using a man as a convenience?
Trifling. I mean, and it goes both ways, but this is gonna sound, I don't want to sound sexist, but you know, the perception is, well, let me say this. Sometimes young girls are taught, oh, men just gonna cheat. That's just what they do. But it's something different about when a woman, in my opinion, when I'm out here doing it and I'm just being trifling, there's a different level. And I'm gonna say, I mean, men do it and women do it.
That's true.
But to me, it's just, I don't know. I don't want to say the perception is, you know, men just gonna do it and women not supposed to. But it's just different. I don't even know how to explain why it's so different.
I think because when you hear not just the word woman, but you hear lady.
Maybe.
It's like a woman that should be carrying herself as a lady. Someone that should, you look like you should be respected. You know, like you're striving for something. you're using maybe some proper etiquette. You just know how to act.
Yeah.
And I think maybe that's where it's just
that persona of a woman. Maybe that's what it is.
Yeah, and it might just be the expectation.
Yeah.
To where you think that this woman is going to be a little bit better.
Yeah. And it's wrong either or. But it's just a little different for me. I think women, I hear, and I used to use these words. Thank you, Lord, for deliverance. The game and it, get in the game and I'm gonna do me and and it takes work, but it takes some hardening of some emotions and some hearts and all of that stuff to be able to really do that. Because if you think about it, you just really just using a person. You're like a leech.
You are using a person. I'm gonna tell you, it really bothers me, and I guess we'll flip flop with however we need to, but it really, really bothers me when I see men that are reaching out to women for a sexual convenience. Because now we're getting into the aspect of those two become one. And the traits, the things that you take on when you have gone into that area of a relationship because you're someone's you've allowed yourself to be someone's convenience and just use you for a sexual purpose. You don't realize the demons that you are inviting inside of yourself. And that really, really bothers me. I really don't like that.
That's a whole nother level.
Ooh.
And it is such a big thing that happens from that perspective. And and I think sometimes people truly believe that they are in love with that person when they're doing it. That is crazy. And I'm saying, let me just be a little bit more clear. I'm just saying the arrangement.
Okay.
That's the arrangement. You give me a sexual favor, I'm going to give you some money. I'm not going to pay you, I'm going to give you some money. We spending time together, becoming one, intertwining. There's bound to be feelings there, unless you're a prostitute. So now I think I love you, but all this is an arrangement.
It is.
We can say I love you and we can spend a little bit of time together, but like my grandmother used to say, let's just call it a spade a spade. There has got either, and I'm gonna say from the woman's perspective, because we are emotional creatures. Yes. But I know men that are emotional creatures as well, but they also have an expectation of building a relationship.
That's right.
And this is just an arrangement.
A lot of people, and I've heard it before, that they date to be married. They're not just looking for something casual. They're looking for a relationship because for whatever reason, they may not want to live in sin, and have that sexual relationship. But everybody doesn't think like that either.
Everybody don't think like that, but when I heard that phrase and the person that it came from, I don't think they understood what that really meant. It might have been from that perspective of, I don't want to live in sin. But if I'm dating to be married, I need to be preparing myself to be a wife.
That's right.
So that comes with some responsibility. I need to make sure I'm not just financially, I'm spiritually, I'm mentally, I'm emotional. I have to work on me. It's not just for the convenience of not living in sin.
That's right.
Or getting me out of this situation because I don't want to live here. I'm ready to go. So now you conveniently taking me out of that situation. So even, and I haven't heard this from young men, but I've heard it from young women. If you are dating to be married, then you have to have a marriage mindset.
That's right.
And it's only fair for you to be the best that you can be as that almost wife. So that comes with some work.
Yeah. And it's because it's, what are you bringing to the table?
Absolutely.
You got to bring some substance.
So that absolutely.
Bring some substance to the table. Don't bring air.
Yeah.
Bring something real.
Yeah.
Bring something that we can build on, something that we can, that we can work towards. But I think it also kicks back to, if you allow it to happen, it's discernment.
Yeah.
You'll be able to weed out some of those things.
Absolutely.
Now, if you're okay with being somebody's convenience and you're okay with being used in that way, or you're okay with using someone, then you know what, hey, you're going to have to deal with that later on.
Yeah. And it will be dealt with.
And it will be dealt with, because you just don't treat people that way.
No.
But I also think about how, you see people that are living together for decades. Yeah. Right? And then their children are seeing it as well. But it's like, it's okay. Well, I don't have to get married. This is and I'll just call you when I want to. Man. I'm just going to continue to do whatever I want to do.
Bad behavior.
Bad behavior.
Teaching wrong.
Yeah.
Putting them in compromising positions. Not helping them understand what the consequences of this is going to be. Yeah. It's so many different things.
Yeah. So it's just disheartening for me. Yeah. When I see that, it really kind of bothers my spirit. Yeah. Because I just look at how, like we talked before, that cycle of behavior is going to continue. Because your children are looking at it. Yeah. They're looking at it. There's the parent, then there's the child, then there's the grandchildren. Yeah. It just continues. Yeah. And there's no accountability for it. No. Somebody's going to have to, like I said before, put some requirements on some things. Somebody's got to, it's going to have to stop. Yeah. But if you're okay with it, then guess what? You're just going to be okay with it. But there's one area that I want to touch on. And I want to touch on, and we're talking about relationships with man and a woman, but I want to also touch on the aspect of how we make God our convenience. Man. Yeah, so we're going to break here. Please go to our website, jordanchristiancenter.com, and see the things that we have going on there. We have some Sunday school lessons that are taught by Pastor Hairston and also by Minister Adam Butts. You can find information for our Women Talk, our monthly discussion group. We have also Man Talk for the men, where they get together and they talk about issues just for men. And then travel on over again to YouTube, where you'll see Small Talk with Kenya and Dawn. You'll find that in our playlist. Hit that notification bell so that you know when Small Talk premieres, which is every Tuesday morning at 7 a.m. Please comment on the video, like the video, and subscribe to the channel. But until then, have a great day.